Hey there, whosoever is listening in. This is Sandeep Gupta, founder of Top 1% GMAT, and I've been training for the GMAT for the last 27 years. Today, I'm here with this special video that will tell you everything about the GMAT Focus Edition. I can understand that there's a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety around this edition, a lot of myths actually that need to be busted. And for that reason, on the very first day that the exam was operational, that is on the 7th of November 2023, three of my faculty members who already had scores in the 99th percentile on the current GMAT wrote this exam and actually have shared every feedback, every detailed feedback with me. We have also gotten them on the video, and I've also done a Zoom call with them. So in case you want to check more of that, you can actually request us and we'll be happy to help. I'll stop this camera and I'll actually share the report and everything in detail. So I'll start my presentation. Please be with me till the very end. So in the beginning, we'll discuss the basic reports and what that means to you. But towards the end, essentially, we'll discuss their detailed reports, question by question analysis, and how they found the exam in extreme detail. So please stay with me till the very end. All right, I'll stop my camera now. Okay, so here we are. Let's understand what is it that we found in the GMAT Focus Edition taken by three of my faculty members. First of all, a little introduction about them. So one of them is Maurya, who already had a score of 770 in the current or the legacy edition of the GMAT. Jignesh again had a score of 770 and Manan had a score of 760. So you should know who are these people who wrote the exam. And this is important for us to understand. The videos presented by these people, Maurya, Jignesh, and Manan, are also with us. And I also did a comprehensive Zoom session with each of them. So that video is also with us in case you want to have some idea about what they found. Now, first thing is the GMAC, the body that conducts the GMAC, has to be credited with having an absolutely smooth administration. There was a lot of fear, there was a lot of anxiety around the idea that let me not write the exam in the beginning, let me wait for a few weeks, let me do this among our students also. And because we also were a little apprehensive about how this will go, but this was completely smooth for all three of them. One person wrote the exam from home, that is online version, and the other two wrote the exam at center in different cities. Their entire experience was very, very smooth, so no glitches there. So congratulations to GMAC for achieving something that is pretty spectacular in change. Also, please understand, these are the emails received by GMAC and by our faculty members. And this says a couple of things. One thing is 645 is the new 700. What does this mean? Business schools also understand this. So do not think that, oh, my friend wrote the exam and he got a 760 score, and here I am with a 7, let's say in the new edition, here I am with a score of 7, let's say 115. So maybe I will be reviewed very, very unfavorably by the examiner or by the college or the university you're applying to. There is no such thing. The GMAT, being the international test that it is, has taken extreme care that your score will not be evaluated in this fashion. The only evaluation will be in the percentile format. That is it. So take care of this. And very important, the entire thing, you can actually pause the screen later and read whatever this mail is saying, because it's very crucial for us to understand everything that has been communicated. Also, on some of the reports that you see, this is another official communication by GMAC to one of our faculty members through on mba.com itself, frankly. So that means some of the time, let's say somebody saying 2 minutes 14 seconds on this question, that time may not be accurate as of now. That is going to be worked upon. Apart from that, the score and your percentile rankings will not be impacted by this. This is a minor glitch that might be fixed by the GMAT by the time this video comes out. So let's see. Now we will see some of the basic reports and then we'll see the comprehensive report and then try to understand. So let's see. What the basic report looks like, it is your total score, your quantitative reasoning, your verbal reasoning, your data insights. In a single graphic, what does it mean? So let's say somebody scored a 685, that person's percentile is 97th. That means way ahead of 700 in the older format. You should understand, because older format 700 meant 89 percentile. So this is a big jump, although the score is looking less. So do not bother about these scores, only bother about the percentiles here. These are the things that will matter. And in each of the sections also, do not bother about the scores you're getting, because what 84 means, let the GMAC know about it. Let us not even bother. Similarly, this, and business schools will be comparing only one column, and that is this one. So just take care. Now let's see, this is another thing, how this comes. So very clearly the same thing, but this is how it will look. Let's see now, let's say this is the quantitative section. So essentially it has two broad components called arithmetic and algebra, which will obviously have more and more subtopics. So this is the rank shown by the GMAC in the arithmetic section for one of the faculty members. This is the rank shown for algebra. Similarly, there is something called pure context and real context. What is the meaning of pure context? That means it's a question like X, Y, and Z in algebra that does not have too much word-based information. Real context means mostly word problems. Now, word problems does not mean problems only in arithmetic. Even permutations and combinations is a word problem. Even a question given in coordinate geometry or probability could qualify. So that means real context means real life situations, that Jack bought this at $10 and so on, or Jack is seated among 5 people. These are real context. Pure context is X square greater than Y square in inequalities. So just understand the basic meaning. Now there are various types of questions. I'll detail these later. So you have rates, ratios, percentage, value, order factors, equal, unequal, algebra, and counting, set, series, probability, statistics. I'll explain, but in these 4 areas, you will get your different rankings as well. So this is also the time somebody would have taken to solve the question, as evidenced by the GMAC on mba.com website. For now, the time may not be absolutely accurate. Frankly, all this doesn't even matter beyond a point once you write the exam, until you're very critical of the analysis. But this is important for you to understand. Also very interesting, the section review and edit overview. So you can actually review any number of questions. Review means you can go back and read all the questions all over again. For that, you have to mark and flag a question. Those are the ones you can go back to, and you can actually change some answers. Now let's see questions reviewed. That means this person actually marked 9 questions initially. These were under review and these were under not reviewed. And did the answer change? No, answer did not change in this context. There can be other scenarios in which the answer also changes. For example, here, this person really put these many questions and 3 answers were edited by this person. So incorrect to correct, incorrect to correct, incorrect to correct in all the 3 scenarios. That means this could work, but there are a lot of caution elements to be taken with this. So we will talk about it in our regular sessions, but this is the basic meaning of questions reviewed or not reviewed. Now let's see, in the verbal section, there are 2 components, critical reasoning and reading comprehension. Within critical reasoning, you have 2 components, analyze, critique, plan, construct, and this inference and stated idea, that is primary purpose, main idea. We will have a detailed discussion about what this means, what each of the topics in Quant will entail, etc., and their experiences. Right now, we are just having a bird's overview or a bird's eye view of everything that we are trying to understand the score reports. So this is another time thing. So which question went wrong, how much time you took. So definitely all this is handy if you're analyzing, but this is post the exam. So if you're writing the next attempt, probably the first attempt does not go well, then you at least know what you have done. Now, once again, let's say this person scored 100 percentile in these 3 areas and 86 percentile in analyze and critique. So we will try to understand what this is. Okay, let's see. Again, time taken. So you can pause the screen whenever you want and actually analyze it in more detail. Once again, questions reviewed but not edited, question edited, and question number this. So in this case, incorrect remained incorrect only. Even if you went and tried to edit, This was incorrect to incorrect. That means suppose the right answer was C, the chosen answer was B, the next time the person would have marked D. So incorrect to incorrect, something like this. All right. In the data insights section, please, this is something very interesting. Math related and non-math related are two different types of questions asked in almost equal measure. So we'll talk about it in detail, but these are the percentile rankings in one case, one candidate's case. Another thing, this is the time taken. So this will give you an idea. So once again, the percentile rankings, there are 4 things in which percentiles will be ranked: two-part analysis, multi-source reasoning, graphs and tables, data sufficiency. So let's see. Once again, another person's score report. So this is data sufficiency 100th percentile, and so on and so forth. Again, the time taken by each section. So now this is the basic idea. I'm sure every score report can tell you something like this, but we'll have a much more detailed analysis of each of the questions asked for these 3 candidates. So this will be the most interesting and fun part of our discussion. Let's see, because this is the biggest black box people have right now. They have no idea about the data insight section. So we will understand that section. We'll understand this section in extreme detail here. Let's see. So we'll analyze each of the 3 score reports in detail. Now, these are the 20 questions that have to be done in 45 minutes here. And this is important for you to understand that all this, I have actually tried to tabulate everything properly, neatly for you. So 8 questions in data sufficiency, 4 questions in two-part reasoning, 5 questions in graphs and table, and 3 questions in multi-source reasoning. Surprisingly, this distribution remains the same for all the candidates. This person whose score report you're saying got 10 questions non-math related and 10 questions math related. Now, whatever is written here is extremely important. Please see. So what is non-math related? It is mostly like critical reasoning questions in the verbal section. Requires a lot of reading and deciphering of the information extremely quickly. Okay. Math topics, it could be arithmetic, algebra, stats, probability, any of these, whatever the math topics you can get. And remember one thing, that the math tested is so basic in these questions, even in these questions, that the fundamental skill being tested is still reading and interpreting. So let's see, as I've written here, your reading skills really matter a lot in the DI section. And if you can read really fast and extract all the relevant information quickly from a jungle of information, like one of our candidates said that there were 20 graphs, out of which only 4 were relevant in a single question. Now that's a lot of reading, obviously, a lot of which is irrelevant, and interpret, analyze all the information. So please remember, you should watch all the other videos as well. In this case, this question is mostly about reading and reasoning. 75% of data insights, most people will not relate to this. So data means numbers, but 75% of this boils down to your ability to read and interpret very fast. Very little about math. Even when math is asked, it's such a basic question. Let's say of work, time, speed, distance, mean and median, probability. We have seen all kinds of questions in the practice material also released by the GMAC, but they're very basic questions. And what we do while teaching the data insights section, predominantly this itself, that first, if you master all of verbal and all of quant, this section only requires you to read fast and interpret. There are no other skills required in this section. So be very clear about this. The other person, let's say, there is another score report you can see. Data sufficiency, this table remains the same. So this will give you an idea. I'll tell you about multi-source reasoning and how to tackle it, because this has been reported as the toughest part of this section. This person got 9 questions non-math and 11 questions math related, but everything else remains the same here. This person got 10 non-math and 10 math related questions, and everything remains the same here. Please understand, your ability to read and interpret information, a lot of information, very fast, will come in handy. And that is why if your RC is exceptionally good, and if your CR is exceptionally good, you can do really well in this section. You can do wonders actually. So what are the observations that are my observations about this section? The number of questions has been the same for all the candidates, as we saw. And number of math and non-math questions in 2 cases was 10 out of 10. 10 and 10, sorry. And in 1 case, 11 and 9. So total 20 questions. As I've said, really important is your reading skill. So this But number 6 here, there is something that I'd like to talk about in multi-source reasoning, because this part takes a lot of time. If you've been familiar with it, there are 3 tabs. Sometimes you have to take information. There can be a table within it, there can be a graph within it, and there can be a lot of writing within it. So it is possible that you are losing time. At that time, you can put all these 3 questions in review and come back to these later once you've done data sufficiency, which is at least not time consuming. It may be tough or easy depending on the question. Graphs and tables, generally relatively easy questions, and 2-part is a lot of reading, but still not as much as multi-source reasoning. So we will suggest this very clearly. Do not really waste your time if the clock is not in favor of you. Do not waste time reading a lot of multi-source reasoning questions. And one thing is, all the multi-source reasoning questions reported are coming together, which means there is only one set. Please remember, if they are coming together, there is only one set here, and that is some good news. You can see multi-source one set only, multi-source one set, multi-source one set again. So this is really the important thing. So if you leave out one set, you leave it out and come back to it at the end to review. At that time, you might have 10 minutes remaining. You may actually solve this. What has been observed by all 3 candidates is that this wasted the most amount of time. And one of our faculty members, whose previous IR score was 8 out of 8, ran short of time because of this mismanagement. So take care of this aspect. Also, a very, very strong suggestion how to tackle the DI section effectively. This may not seem intuitive to you. This will be counterintuitive. If you have done a lot of LSAT papers with a lot of RC and CR in them, just your reading speed has to be super fast to grab all the information, to find out what information is relevant and what is not relevant. Really, really recommended to do this. So this is something that I've been recommending at top 1% for a very long time. But this time, genuinely, you must do this to improve your other sections also. Okay, let's see what we have observed in verbal. So this table I've summarized here. In critical reasoning, one person got 9 questions, and out of which plan and construct were 5 questions, analyze and critique were 4 questions. I'll explain what this means. Reading comprehension, there were 14 questions, 4 passages, absolutely really, really long passages. And in fact, you can see the first RC passage after the first 2 CR questions was really the longest passage this person got. And they are of the same length as the LSAT passages. I have been asking people to do the LSAT ever since I started teaching the GMAT, and this has benefited them exceptionally in the verbal section. But this time, this will benefit you a lot more in the DI section as well. And 2 relatively shorter. When I say the word relatively shorter, they are not really short. They are longer than the shorter passages that used to be there on the GMAT. So 3 questions each here. Total 14 questions. This number has not remained the same for somebody. Some other student got, I think, more number of questions in CR and RC, as we'll see. Stated idea means primary purpose, main idea, and tone. That is 6 questions. Inference, 8 questions. So as you can see here, now please see what is the meaning. 9 questions in CR. The meanings will be explained in the subsequent slide. 14 questions. Now, each of the 3 candidates got different number of questions in RC and CR. Everybody is attested to one thing. Octave definitely works, as you can hear them saying in the videos also. CR techniques that we teach are genuinely working. But more than anything else, awareness part, that means if you can read fast, imagine if the passage is long and you have no idea about the passage, versus you have all the information already about the background of the passage. Which way will you be able to read and interpret faster? So clearly one thing, and as I've been saying, RC is make or break for your exam. Most people will do a very pathetic job of RC, teaching RC also and learning RC also. So take care. This is very important. People mess up in RC. This is your opportunity to score. But the other person got 13 questions of CR and only 10 questions of RC, which meant 3 passages. 1 passage was super long, but 2 passages were relatively shorter. Now, let's say your CR is a little weaker, you might find this tough. Please also remember that does not give you any relaxation that only 3 passages are there, because this is not being replaced by some one-liners. CRs also can be pretty dense. Everything that we do in critical reasoning is working. Please remember, some people got boldface questions, quite a lot of them. Some people got conditional reasoning, some people got inference, some people got main point, some assumptions, evaluate, strengthen, paradox, and all kinds of questions. So please remember, there is no such thing that you can leave this and then do everything else. 13 questions in CR and 10 questions in RC. So very important that number of questions can vary. And then another person again had 9 questions and 14 questions here. So very crucial. And you can pause any of the screens and understand more and how much time somebody would have taken, etc. For example, if you look at the time taken by some people here, it's very easy that they were able to manage the section very, very comprehensively. So what do these terms mean? Analyze or analysis or critique, construction, plan. So analysis is basically which category? Boldface, method of reasoning, technique used. A response to B means two people are arguing, and a statements can best serve as a part of an argument against. So it's more like a weakened question, main point of disagreement between two people. So this is analysis. Critique is flaw, vulnerable to criticism is flaw, logically flawed. Weaken, strengthen, support means strengthen, and evaluate. So this is the meaning of critique. What is construction? Let's see that also. Most logically completes means most probably this is inference or strengthen. If the statements above are true, is definitely strengthen. Most strongly support is strengthen. Best explains the discrepancy is paradox. Assumption here. And once again, assumption, this type of question, strongest justification for is strengthen. So be very clear. You can pause the screen and learn what these mean. What is a plan question? So all of these questions, types, how a plan is flawed, what strategy, policy, plan is succeed. So must be true for a plan to succeed means some sort of strengthen or assumption, more or less likely. So weaken or strengthen. Most helpful to know is evaluate. Evidence boost support, that means strengthen. Flaw, strategy would most help overcome a problem, is a situation analysis. So plan is more like a situation analysis, as you can see. Okay, all of this. So all this is covered in detail. So these are the questions. So you have plan, construction, critique, and analyze. So critique, I told you what critique is, vulnerable to criticism. What is construction? All these types of questions, and plan. So this is for CR. Now, some observations that I have for the verbal section, please see. The number of questions may vary, first of all. So you prepare for the worst contingency. You prepare that you'll get 4 passages. You prepare that 4 long passages will come. Who knows that all passages will be short? You just prepare for the very worst. And that is why, once again, LSAT content comes into picture in the most emphatic fashion here. All varieties there. LSAT papers, genuinely recommended. And RC awareness is something that they have vouched for extraordinarily, because understanding a long passage can be impossible almost, or very, very daunting if you don't have any background information. So awareness component, and obviously all of Octave is working. For this, I'll really recommend the Zoom session that I did with these 3 students, 3 of my faculty members who were my students only earlier. That session, if you go through, you will get a very clear idea. Okay, let's see what happened in the quant section for these. First of all, quant is only about problem solving. These are 21 questions. Let me explain the meaning of pure and real. Pure means only x, y, z are there. That means something like, is x square plus y square greater than z square? Now, there is obviously algebra only. So if the questions do not involve any other language, that means it is not a word problem. Then it is this type. It could be in any area. It could be in probability also. Is TA greater than TB? Almost everything is a variable here. So something like that, very crucial for you to understand. 10 questions of pure. For all the 3 students, 10 and 11 were there, and 11 of real. Now, what is pure? I've already told you. What is real? Word problems and problems with extra detail. That means even a probability question can be a real problem, even PNC, even coordinate geometry, even basic algebra, all of this. If function questions are there, let's say, both, they can be both pure and real. Let's say, which of the following graphs can be plotted to show that this is greater than this? This is more a word problem. But if I say, is fx greater than fy, That's this problem. So do not try to link. And what all these things mean, let's see. Counting, I'm showing from here, whatever is written. What is counting? Permutations and combinations. Sets, overlapping sets, series, AP, GP, and special sequences. That is the meaning of the word series. What is probability? Prob is probability. Stats, mean, median, range, and standard deviation. Value means what is the value of X? Basic algebra. Order means indices. 2 to the power 3 or 2 to the power 9. This is called questions based on order. Factors, that means everything is covered in basic number system. Equal means equations. It's all written here. What is equal? I'm interpreting from here. So equations, it could be linear, quadratic, both. Unequals means inequalities. When I use the word algebra, it will include mods, etc. Include, I'm not saying this is the only thing. So what is general algebra? That we have already talked about in detail. All the things that are asked in algebra are related to variables. So it could be progression, sequences in series, it could be functions, it could be graphs, it could be linear equations, quadratic equations, special functions, symbols, all of these things, and inequalities and mods. Ratio, now I'm reading it from here. What is the meaning of ratio? Rate and percentage. So rate is time in work and time, speed, and distance. Ratio, proportion, mixture. Percentage, profit, loss, discount, simple interest, compound interest. You cannot have a predetermined number in this. That means one person got a lot of questions on numbers. One person got a lot of questions on arithmetic, and one person got a lot of questions from all the other topics and less number of questions from here. So the other topics were stats, algebra, permutations, combinations, and probability. So you really are not very sure what is the number of questions. So do not have priorities like that. Same thing for everyone. 10 questions pure, 11 questions real. Same thing here as well. Now, some observations about the quantitative section. Each of the topics written here, please read them carefully. All the topics have been covered for these 3 students. Mean, median, range, standard deviation under stats. Numbers, all kinds of questions from numbers. So this topic is very predominant. You should do numbers from multiple sources as advised by us. Inequalities and mods, major topic again. General algebra, word problems requiring translation of words to variables, questions related to age, let's see, etc. Questions related to numbers. Numbers means this number is greater than this number by this value, etc. Functions and graphs involving coordinate geometry. One of the students got coordinate geometry as well. I've been saying this from the very beginning. Only geometry has been removed. Coordinate geometry stays. Sequences and series, permutations and combinations. Most number of questions from arithmetic, that is percentage, profit and loss, discount, simple and compound interest, set theory, ratio, proportion, mixture, work and time, time, speed and distance. So please do not at all neglect even one topic. So if one person gets 2 questions of time, speed, distance, one other person can get 5 or 6 questions. We just do not have any control over this. All right. So take care of this. As I've written, one person got a lot of questions from arithmetic and PNC probability, because this is also counted under word problems only. Lot of questions from numbers. One got almost equally distributed from stats, algebra, and inequalities mods. So please be very clear. It is impossible to tell what this will be like. So very detailed description I've given you. Check these score reports. Also, I'll share a detailed PDF with people, and when it's uploaded on YouTube, I will make sure in the bottom there will be a PDF for you to download with the deck that we have given, plus all the 4 links of all the other 4 videos that we have already shot related to this. Thank you, GMAC, for coming up with something absolutely wonderful. And I'm very sure the new skills will be way more relevant to business school education. All the very best then. Contact us in case you need anything. Bye-bye.